Oh man.
Gotta watch
Hey,
it.
let me ask you this: do you think that your rise to a top performer, part of that is you start thinking about the company and the customer before yourself?
Not
By
before,
saying
but
that,
on even footing. It's not before.
like,
Like you know my holy sales trinity. Like it's the customer, the company, and you, and everybody's got to be on equal footing. Like you can't take a loss and just selflessly help everybody else win, because then ultimately that's where you get into this position where you're going to start making choices around pricing or margins that are not going to ultimately benefit you or get you paid or hit your quota or things like that. Like you've got to be mindful of that. And I think part of that is creating that relationship. I no longer even supported those clients that I was talking about before, that I was called in to close that deal that they couldn't get done in months. But there was an element where we knew each other on a personal level, and I was able to say, look, these are the components. This is what our organization is going to care about ultimately. So these are levers that I can pull on your behalf. So if you're willing to make this a part of the deal, then I can meet your number with a little bit of uptick. Between us gentlemen, let's figure out what that uptick is, what's acceptable, what's digestible for your organization. And if you've got that level of relationship, you can achieve anything. And so there was an element where that customer told me, I want to know how you get paid so that I can help you.
great.
Those are the types of relationships you want to create, where there is that caring all around. But I can't make a decision or a deal that solely benefits my company, just like I can't make a decision or deal, to John's earlier point, that solely benefits me as a seller. And I can't make a decision that solely benefits the customer, because then somebody loses and it's a bad deal. So those are my thoughts. But John, I mean, I loved what you were just hitting on. I'd love to get your thoughts on that too.
I fully agree. Yeah, 100%. It's got to be a balance. It's got to be a balance act. If you forget one piece of it, it will come back, and it typically you're digging out of a hole in one way or the next long term typically. So no, you got to look at all three, and the relationship piece is the one that ties it all together. If you have a great relationship with your sales team, they'll understand your thought process on why we're making those decisions. If you have a great relationship with the customer will respect your decision on why you're having to either walk, or where you position in the contract negotiation right now, and how you're gonna either get through it. Got to work with me here, I'll work with you there, and we make this work. But if you just put full throttle into the customer, your sales rep doesn't understand why you're doing it, and ultimately speaking, you're gonna be in a problematic down long term. And then if you put everything and you keep everything internal on how you're doing things and making decisions, your sales rep and your customer don't understand why you're making decisions. So I think I agree with Carson, man. He's on fire right now, but he is 100%
Crazy.
man. It's a balance act.